The dirty arrival, the space mining colony, was quiet. Most workers were already sleeping in their cold metal rooms. Only the sound of machines and distant engines filled the air. Jay was still working. He was just a janitor, 22 years. Old, bored, and tired, he cleaned floors, toilets, labs. Anything dirty. That was his life, but tonight was different. As he walked past Sector 9, his communicator beeped. Janitor Jay, report to Lab 7, emergency cleanup. Quarantine zone, Jay sighed. Great. Quarantine zone. Probably another space rat. But when he reached Lab 7, he froze. Guards were standing outside the door, armed, serious faces. Inside. The lights were red, meaning alien contact. A cold voice spoke. You're late, janitor. It was Commander Vale, the man who hated jokes and life. Jay looked into the lab window. Inside was a containment room. There was something lying on. The metal bed, covered in black slime. Not human. It had a small body. Maybe female, but not like anything Jay had seen. The skin underneath the slime was glowing. Faint blue light moving slowly, like it was alive. Is that a body? Jay asked. Commander Vale nodded. Alien girl. Ship crashed near Sector 3. She's the only survivor. Dirty, slimy, and maybe dangerous. But before the scientists arrive, we need her cleaned. That's your job. Jay took a step back. Wait, clean her? Yes, wash off the alien slime. Don't touch her bare skin. Wear gloves, and don't talk to her. She's not your girlfriend. Got it? Jay nodded slowly. The door opened with a hiss. Cold air hit his face. The lab smelled like metal and chemicals. He stepped inside. The alien girl didn't move. Her body was shaking a little. Maybe from the jolt. Jay put on gloves, took a soft cloth and warm water. He walked closer. The black slime was thick, sticky, and strange. As he touched it, it moved a little like it was alive. But it melted away slowly. He wiped her face first. Her skin underneath was glowing, not bright, but soft, like moonlight. Her face looked calm, almost human, but too perfect. Too smooth. He cleaned more. Her arms, her neck, part of her chest. Then suddenly, her eyes opened. Jay dropped the cloth. She was awake. Silver eyes stared at him. Not angry, not scared, just tired. He stepped back. You're awake? She blinked, slowly, then whispered, Where am I? Her voice was soft, like music in the wind. Jay looked at the security glass. The guards weren't watching. He whispered back, You're in a human colony. You crashed. I think they told me to clean you. The girl tried to sit up, but she was weak. Her hands trembled. Don't let them take me, she said. Jay's heart beat faster. Why? Who are you? She looked at him with pain in her eyes. They will hurt me. They always do. Jay didn't understand, but something about her felt real, sad, not dangerous. He noticed something on her arm, a wound, but it wasn't bleeding. Instead, it was glowing, red lines moving like energy. It looked deep, but not fatal. He touched near it with the cloth. Suddenly, her body glowed brighter. The wound healed a little. Jay gasped. What that healed? The girl looked surprised too. Your touch, you're different. And Jay took a step back again. I'm just a janitor, he said. I clean floors, not aliens. She smiled for the first time. You clean me. That's more than most would do. Jay didn't know what to say. His hands were shaking. His mind was racing. What was this? An alien girl, glowing skin, healing with his touch? He looked back at the door. What if the commander found out she was awake? What if they hurt her? Listen, he whispered. I don't know who you are, but I won't tell them you're awake. Okay? She nodded. Then suddenly, the intercom spoke. Jay, status update. Is the alien clean? Jay panicked. He grabbed the cloth, wiped her quickly, and replied, Almost done, sir. His voice was calm. But his heart wasn't. He looked at her one last time before leaving. She was glowing softly. Watching him as he stepped out of the lab, he whispered to himself, What have they brought here? The hidden wound. It had been 3 hours since Jay left the alien girl, but he couldn't sleep. He lay on his metal bed, staring at the ceiling of his small room, the glow of her skin, her silver eyes. Her words, they stayed in his mind like a dream he couldn't wake from. Don't let them take me. They always hurt me. Who were they? And how did her wound heal when he touched her? Jay had cleaned a lot of things in his life. Mud, oil, blood, even acid spills, but this girl wasn't just dirty, she was broken, hiding something. Or someone was hiding something from her. Back in Lab 7. She sat alone now on the cold metal bed. The black slime was gone. Her soft blue skin glowed gently in the dark. She held her arms around her knees like a child trying to feel safe. Her name wasn't Alien Girl. She had a name, but she hadn't spoken it in so long. She almost forgot it herself. Nira, she whispered to the silence. My name is Naira, but no one was there to hear it the next day. Jay was sent back to clean again, but this time, not her. The lab had blood on the floor, human blood. A security guard had gone missing near Sector 3, the same place her ship had crashed. Commander. Vale barked orders as Jay arrived. Clean this quickly. Then go check Lab 7, and don't speak to the alien. Again. Jay didn't reply, just nodded and did his job, but inside he was burning with questions. When he finally entered Lab 7 again, he found her sitting upright this time. Alert? Watching? He froze. You're still here, he said softly. She tilted her head. They haven't moved me yet, but they will. Jay checked the cameras, still off. Good, he walked closer. You never told me your name. She hesitated. Nira. Jay. Smiled slightly. I'm Jay, the janitor. I know. How? She touched the glass wall between them. You smell like soap. He laughed. Just a little, but then he noticed it again. Her arm. The wound was glowing, but only partly healed. He couldn't stop himself. Can I look at that again? She nodded. Jay put on gloves, opened the side access to the bedchamber, and stepped in. He knelt beside her and looked at the wound. Gently he held her arm. The glow grew stronger, but this time he felt something strange, a sharp pain in his chest. A memory that wasn't his, flashes of a white lab, people screaming, machines drilling into blue flesh. He dropped her hand. What was that? Nira's eyes widened. You saw it? Jay nodded, breathing fast. That wasn't mine. That was you? She looked away. I'm not just an alien, Jay. I'm part of a weapon, a living one. They made me, and then they broke me. Jay's voice shook. They? Who? She didn't answer. Instead, she looked at him carefully. Your touch wakes memories. Not just mine, yours too. That's why the wound heals. You give me something, light, warmth. Jay stepped back. I'm just a cleaner, not a hero. You're more than you think, she said. They wouldn't send a janitor to wash a living weapon unless they were hiding something too. Jay paused. Something in his heart twisted. He remembered something from last year, how his transfer papers were blocked. How Commander Vale forced him to stay on this colony for security purposes. He never questioned it. Until now. Meanwhile, in the shadows, in a control room, deep underground, two scientists watched a hidden screen. Nira and Jay were being recorded the entire time. One of them smirked. So the contact has begun? Good. Let's see how far the janitor goes for his glowing girl. The other wrote notes. He's bonding with her, just like the others did. Let's prepare for Phase 2, back in Jay's quarters. That night, he sat on his bed again. This time, he didn't look at the ceiling. He looked at his hands. What did I see? He whispered. Who am I really? On the table next to him, a strange blue thread was glowing. It had come off her skin when he touched her. It pulsed gently in the dark, alive. Watching. The colony wasn't sleeping anymore, not because of noise, but because of fear. Over the last 2 days, 3 people had disappeared. No screams, no blood, just silence. And then nothing. Jay heard the rumors. Maybe it's the alien girl. Maybe she's calling more of her kind. Maybe she's a spy. Jay didn't believe it, but deep down he wasn't sure anymore. Jay's night shift. Different this time. Jay walked through Sector 7 with his cleaning cart. Like always, but tonight he wasn't really cleaning, he was looking. He didn't trust the colony anymore. Not after what he saw in Nira's memories. Not after finding that blue thread in his room, still glowing, still alive. Suddenly he heard something, a soft tap. Tap, tap. Behind the wall, he stopped, held his breath, nothing, then again. Tap. Tap. He pressed his ear to the metal wall, a voice, muffled, struggling. Help. Me? Jay's eyes widened. He quickly opened a nearby access panel. Inside, the crawl space. He saw a man, a security guard. Tied, bruised, barely breathing. Who did this to you? Jay asked. The man whispered. They think she's talking to someone. They're silencing anyone who gets too close. Then he passed out. Jay's heart pounded. This wasn't about an alien threat. This was control, experimentation, fear, back. In Lab 7, Nira Nausnara sat calmly, but her silver eyes flicked to the corners of the lab often. She knew she was being watched, not just with cameras, but with minds. She felt them pressing in, trying to read her thoughts, break her will, but they couldn't, not fully, because something was changing. Jay. His presence was like a shield. Each time he touched her, the pain faded. The noise in her head quieted, and that thread she left with. Him? It was working. She could feel him now. Even across walls. Jay returns to her, a silent plan. Jay made his way back to the lab, pretending it was just another cleaning check. Commander Vale passed him in the hallway. You're not scheduled for Lab 7 today, he said, narrowing his eyes. Jay smiled. Spill in Corridor 6, I'll be quick. Vale didn't argue. Just watched him go. Inside Lab 7, Jay locked the door behind him. He approached Nira slowly. Whispered, they're hiding people, silencing staff. I found a guard. He said they know you're talking to someone. I think they're watching me too. Nira didn't look surprised. They don't just want to study me, Jay. They want to use me. For war, for control. Jay shook his head. But why you? She raised her hand. The skin pulsed, faint blue energy lighting her palm. I'm connected. To something ancient, a signal, a power they don't understand. But they want to own it. Jay stared. And me? You're different. You're not just human. He frowned. What are you saying? She paused, then said softly, you're like me, a little bit. Sudden alert, sirens flashed before Jay could reply. Red lights exploded across the room. Intruder alert, Sector 9, all units respond. Nira's eyes went wide. They're coming. For me, for you. Jay looked at the lab door. Locked for now. I'll get you out, he said. She stood. Weak, but ready. He reached out his hand. No gloves this time. As their hands touched, her glow exploded. White-blue light filled the room. Cameras shorted. The door unlocked by itself. Jay stared at her. You're doing that? Nira nodded. I couldn't before, but your touch wakes the signal. Jay smiled nervously. Remind me never to shake hands again. Escape through the vents. The chase begins. They didn't use the hallways. Jay led her through maintenance tunnels. Dark, narrow, filled with steam and dust. From above, boots slammed on metal. Soldiers were already looking. Jay and Nira crawled silently, but one wrong turn, and they came out in the wrong corridor, face to face with a soldier. Stop right there. Jay raised his hands, but before the soldier could shoot, Nira raised hers. The gun twisted. Metal bending by itself, the soldier collapsed. Not dead, just unconscious. Jay stared at her. What are you? She looked at him. I'm the reason the stars fear Earth. Final scene, a new message. They hid in an old cargo room. Jay sealed the doors. Nira touched the wall gently. Her glow spread through the metal. A screen appeared, flickering, alien. Symbols, a map. A signal. Jay watched, speechless. It's calling something, he whispered. Nira nodded. Not a weapon. Not an army, a memory. My people, or what's left of them. Jay stepped back, heart racing. So, this is bigger than us. Nira looked at him. It always was. The cargo room was dark, but the walls glowed softly. Slowly, like the breath of a sleeping giant, Nira stood in the middle of the room, her hands against the wall. Lines of blue light moved from her fingers, crawling like veins into the metal. Jay watched from behind. It felt like watching someone speak to a ghost. Is that a map? He asked. And IR didn't turn. It's more than a map. It's memory. My people stored everything in light, even pain. Jay stepped closer. The glowing wall showed strange planets, symbols, stars. One red planet blinked. That one, she said. That's where they took us, to build weapons. To turn us into tools? Jay's hands curled into fists. But why? Why would they do that? Nira turned to him now, and her voice was not soft this time. Because humans aren't the only ones. Who fear losing control? Flash of the past, shared through light. Nira reached out and touched Jay's chest. Not hard. Just 2 fingers, and suddenly he was somewhere else. Not standing in the room anymore. He was inside a memory, but it wasn't only hers. It was his too. He saw a lab, a cryopod, a child, not more than 5 years old, floating in liquid, glowing faintly blue. Scientists. Watching, taking notes. Commander Vale in the background, younger, colder. Jay fell to his knees. No, this isn't me. That's not me. But Nira stood beside him, calm. Yes, it is. You're lying. No, you were not just assigned here, Jay. You were born here. Return to reality. Shaken but awake, Jay gasped as the memory ended. He was back in the cargo room, but his body was shaking. I was made? You were modified, Nira said. They gave you a piece of what I am. They wanted to test human-alien fusion. To make you stronger, but it didn't work as they expected. Jay looked up, eyes wide. It did work, just slowly, Nira nodded. You're waking up now. That's why you can heal me. That's why you feel my memories. Jay leaned against the wall. Everything he knew, his life, his job, even his body now felt borrowed. Outside, the colony reacts meanwhile, across the colony. Alarms stopped. The soldiers were silent. Commander Vale stood in a dark chamber, speaking to someone. Through a hologram. Phase 2 has begun. Jay has made contact with the memory archive. The voice on the other side was not human. Then we wait. If he opens the gate, we strike. Vale nodded. No emotion, no rescue, just result. Back in the cargo room, a secret message. Jay stood now, breathing slowly, eyes focused. If they made me part of you, he said, does that mean I'm dangerous? Nira smiled, not in fear, but with warmth. Double quotes. No, it means you're the key. The key to what? She stepped forward and placed a glowing shard, small, like glass, into his hand. As soon as it touched his skin, it melted into him. Jay gasped again, but this time it didn't hurt. He saw stars, planets, voices, and music. Then a word. Starseed. What's that? He asked. It's what you are now, she whispered. Half human, half light. You can unlock the gate to the last memory of my people. Jay's heart pounded. Why me? Because they tried to make a weapon, she said, but instead, they made a choice. Ending scene, a warning in the glow. Suddenly, the lights flickered. Nira turned her head fast. They're coming. Jay stood beside her. No more running. Nira looked at him, calm, proud. Then she raised her hand again, and for the first time, Jay's hand glowed. Two together. They touched the wall. It opened. Not a door, but a beam of blue light, a path to something deep inside. The colony. And I looked at him. Are you ready to find out what they buried here? Jay took a breath. Let's find the truth. And they stepped into the light. That's what they heard when they stepped out of the blue light path. No alarms. No guards. Just silence, but it wasn't peaceful. It felt wrong, like something had happened while they were gone. Inside the memory vault, Jay and Nira found themselves in a deep underground chamber. The walls were smooth, silver black, not made by humans. A quiet hum filled the air, like a giant heart beating far away. This is not part of the colony, Jay said. Nira nodded. It's older. Much older? In the center, a pedestal waited, and, floating above it, a glowing cube of light, spinning slowly. The last piece of the memory archive, Nira whispered. It holds everything. Truth, names, plans, even the key to my people's escape. Jay reached for it, but Nira stopped him. Once you touch it, they'll know. Jay nodded. He stepped forward anyway. The light shows the truth. As Jay touched the cube, it burst into light, and the air around them shimmered like glass. A voice spoke, not a human voice, Not near as something old, gentle, powerful. Welcome. Starseed, you are the final bridge. Are you ready to see? Jay didn't speak. He just nodded. And then the world opened. He saw Earth broken into fire. He saw alien ships crashing, screaming children, scientists experimenting on glowing Vadas? He saw himself, a baby, floating in a tank. He saw Nira screaming, reaching for someone. A sister? No, a twin, but the worst image. Commander Vale, not older, not younger, exactly the same across decades, not aging. Jay stepped back. He's not human. Nira was shaking. He's the one who broke the gate before. He betrayed my people. He destroyed the others. The cube faded, but the truth remained. The escape plan. Jay and Nira ran through the underground path. Now, the lights were flickering red again. They had been found, but Jay wasn't afraid now. Something inside him had changed. He felt stronger. Not just in body, but in will. He remembered the guard from before. He remembered the people who disappeared. He remembered his own forgotten childhood. They couldn't run forever. So he made a choice. Back in the lab, someone waits when they reached Lab 7. It was open. No guards, but someone stood inside. A woman, short brown hair, engineer uniform, soft eyes. Jay froze. Dr. Lena. He whispered. She had trained him years ago when he first arrived. She had been kind. Smiled at him when others ignored him. You're alive? She nodded. They didn't know I escaped the blackout. I've been hiding. Waiting for you. Nira stepped back, cautious. Lena raised her hands. I'm not with them, I swear, Jay asked. Then help us. We need to reach the surface. We need a ship. Lena paused. There's one left. In Bay 12, but you need access codes. Jay stepped forward. Give them? Lena didn't move. Then she smiled, and it wasn't the same smile he remembered. I'm sorry, Jay. Behind them, the doors slammed shut. Gas hissed from the vents. Nira collapsed first. Jay stumbled, grabbing the wall. Lena stood straight now, no kindness in her eyes. You were never meant to unlock the memory. You were supposed to carry it quietly. Jay growled, coughing. You were part of the experiment, Jay, the most stable one, but you got too close to her. He tried to move, but his body felt heavy. Why? He whispered. Because, Lena said, if she leaves this place, the galaxy burns. Darkness falls, then light. Jay's vision blurred. He saw Nira lying on the floor. Her glow fading. He felt something inside breaking. Not his body, his heart. Then suddenly, the glow returned from her chest. From his hands, the thread. It had bonded with him completely. Jay stood, slow, shaking but alive. Lena stepped back, shocked. That's not possible. Jay raised his hand. And for the first time, he spoke a word in her language. Not English, not human, a word from the stars. The glass shattered. The gas cleared. They picked up Nira, her body weak, but eyes still open, and with one step, they vanished into the maintenance shaft. Lena screamed after them, but it was too late. Final scene. On the run again. Jay carried Nira through the tunnels. Lights above blinked. The whole colony now knew, but something in Jay had changed forever. He wasn't just running anymore. He was fighting back. As Nira opened her eyes, weak but alive, she whispered, They'll follow us. Jay nodded, but now they'll have to chase a starseed. It began with a sound, not an alarm. Not a scream, but a vibration, a low hum, rising from the metal floors. Like something beneath the colony was breathing. Jay felt it in his bones as he carried Nira down the last dark hallway. Her glow was dim. Her heartbeat slow. She had taken too much damage. The gas, the shock, the betrayal. But still, she whispered, you have to get me to the source. Jay didn't know what the source was, but he nodded. Because trust was the only thing left. Meanwhile, on the upper levels, chaos. Doors were locking. Lights were flickering. Workers were shouting. The entire colony had entered lockdown. Protocol 9, a level reserved for nuclear emergencies. Commander Vale stood in the control room. Watching cameras flicker one by one, he pressed a button. Seal every shaft. No one leaves alive. The AI spoke back. One life form is untraceable. Vale narrowed his eyes. Who? Subject, Starseed Alpha. He slammed the table. J. Below. Near the forgotten core, J had reached the bottom of the colony. The old generator levels no one used anymore. He had only Nira's faint directions. Her voice was weak now, but when he turned a corner, he saw it. A door, ancient, circular, covered in symbols that glowed when he stepped near. It wasn't human. It was hers. J placed his hand on the door. And this time, he didn't shake. The door opened. Behind it, a chamber made of light and memory. And at the center, a massive stone, cracked and glowing, like a broken heart. Nira gasped from his arms. You found it? The awakening begins. J laid her near the stone. As she touched it, the ground shook. Light poured from her skin. J stepped back. The glow was blinding. Her voice became louder. But it wasn't just hers. It echoed like a choir. We were seeds of stars. You buried us in steel. You cut the light from the sky. Her body lifted into the air. And then she changed. No longer weak. Her skin burned with pure light, white and gold. Her eyes turned into twin galaxies. She floated, arms wide. The awakening had begun. Jay's transformation. Jay fell to his knees. The energy pulsing through him. His veins glowed. His bones burned, not with pain, but with remembering. All the forgotten pieces inside him began to lock together. Visions filled his mind. The experiments, the hybrid trials. The project that was never supposed to survive. He was the last experiment. Not failure. Proof. His voice cracked open. I'm not just a janitor. He raised his hand, and the walls of the chamber bent to him, soft like cloth, sharp like memory. Commander Vale descends, but they were not alone. Metal doors slammed open above. Commander Vale stepped in, calm, clean, deadly. Behind him, soldiers in black, faces hidden, weapons glowing blue. J stood in front of Nira. You lied to me my whole life, he said. Vale smiled, slow and cruel. You were never meant to learn. You were meant to survive just long enough to unlock her. He raised a device. Now step aside, or I shut your heart down with one word. Jay didn't move. Then he whispered, try. Light versus steel. The soldiers opened fire, but Jay didn't fall. He raised his hand, and the bullets stopped midair. Frozen in blue light, with a flick of his fingers, they shattered like glass. The floor cracked. Wind howled through the underground. Nira's voice thundered, no more cages. She rose behind Jay, her glow filling the chamber. Vale stepped back, his control device sparking. You're just light. Light can be contained. But Nira looked through him. No, light remembers. Light returns. And with one word in her forgotten tongue, Anariel, she released the chamber. The colony breaks above. Towers shook. Power failed. Metal twisted. The stars above the colony turned red. Ships fled. Walls fell. And underground, Nira's light exploded, not in destruction but in liberation. Every hidden vault, every locked memory, every stolen voice, freed. Jay held on to her as the stone behind them melted into light, and together they vanished. Far from the colony in open space, a small craft blinked into existence. Inside, Jay opened his eyes. Nira sat beside him, breathing slowly. He looked out the window. The stars were different now. No longer distant. They felt familiar. He turned to her. What happens now? She smiled softly. Now we find the others, not silent, just at peace. Jay looked out the window of the small ship. Stars moved slowly. Far below, the colony was just a memory, a cracked world of metal and lies. Beside him, Nira rested, eyes closed, breathing steady. For the first time in his life, Jay felt free. But freedom didn't feel like escape. It felt like a question. New light. Old thoughts. The ship's system beeped. Starseed activity detected. Coordinates aligning. Jay stared at the glowing map. Your people are out there? He asked softly. Nira opened her eyes. Yes, scattered, sleeping, some hiding. Some broken. Jay nodded slowly. And you want to find them? Nira turned to him. I need to. They deserve to be whole again. Jay looked down at his hands. They made me part of you. Without asking, Nira placed her hand gently over his. But now you choose what that means. A message from Earth suddenly. A message blinked on the screen. Urgent, human military transmission. Jay clicked it. A voice spoke. To the escaped hybrid known as Jay and the alien subject Nira. You are ordered to surrender. Earth is preparing countermeasures. You are a threat to galactic order. Jay laughed, not angry, just tired. They still think we're weapons. Nira shook her head. No, they think we're afraid. Jay looked at her. Are you? She smiled faintly. No, because I'm not alone anymore. Starseed vision, a choice offered that night. Jay dreamed, or maybe it was more than a dream. He stood in a sea of stars. Bare feet on glowing light, a figure stepped out of the sky, not Nira, not human, something ancient, made of thought. And memory. It spoke with no mouth. You are the bridge. 1 foot in shadow, 1 in light. What do you choose? Jay didn't answer. He looked down at Earth, then at the stars. He thought of Nira and whispered, I choose to return. A farewell. Or a beginning. The next morning, Jay told Nara, I'm going back. She froze. Why? There are others. Like me, or worse, kids born in cages. People made into things. I can't leave them behind. Nira's glow flickered, like a heartbeat, but Earth will try to break you. Jay smiled. They already did, and I'm still here. He took her hand. Come with me. She looked toward the stars. I was born to leave, to escape. Jay squeezed her fingers. Then stay for something better. Stay for change. Nira stared at him. Then, slowly, she nodded. We go together. The return to Earth weeks later. A small ship entered Earth's orbit. No weapons. No army, just light, human defense systems locked on. Jets scrambled. Missiles loaded, but before anyone could fire, the ship opened. Jay stepped out, his skin no longer human white. Faint light moved beneath it, like something waking inside, beside him. Nira, tall and glowing, calm like starlight. Jay raised no weapon. He raised only his hand and said, I'm not here to fight. I'm here to finish what you started. Truth. The world paused for a moment. No one spoke. No one fired. And in that breath of silence, history shifted. Some say Earth arrested them. Some say Earth welcomed them. But in the memory of stars, only one truth was recorded. A human and an alien stood side by side, not as threats, not as weapons, but as hope. Final scene, a new future years. Past. The world changed. The word starseed was no longer a secret. It became a symbol. Jay and Nira were never seen again in public. Some believe they died. Others believe they left together. Sometimes on quiet nights, if you look at the sky just right, you can see 2 stars side by side blinking softly. And in that light, you hear a whisper. Love wasn't the end of their journey. It was the reason they began.